Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into a story that could change the course of the war in Ukraine and maybe even global politics. Just a few days ago, Donald Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office, and this time, things played out very differently from their explosive first encounter earlier this year. So, what happened behind those closed doors? Why does this moment feel so important? And what could it mean for the future of peace or conflict in Europe? Let's break it all down together. Now, to really understand why this meeting was such a big deal, we need to rewind a little. Back in February, Zelensky's first visit to Trump's Oval Office went badly. Really badly. The two clashed, the atmosphere was tense, and Zelensky was essentially shown the door without any agreement. 3 days later, U.S. military aid to Ukraine was suddenly halted. Imagine that after years of American support, Ukraine was cut off in an instant. That set the stage for months of uncertainty and, honestly, a lot of frustration in Kyiv and across Europe. Fast forward to mid-August 2025. Zelensky came back to Washington, but this time he wasn't alone. He brought with him an entire team of European leaders: Macron from France, Starmer from the UK, Merz from Germany, von der Leyen from the EU, and others. It was a show of unity. A clear signal that Europe and Ukraine were standing together in front of Trump. Do you think that was a smart move, showing up with backup instead of going it alone? What's fascinating is how different the tone was this time around. Gone was the tense standoff of February. Zelensky arrived in a suit, not fatigues, and he opened the meeting with warmth, thanking Trump, even gifting something to Melania. And get this, within just a few minutes, Zelensky thanked Trump at least 11 times. 11! That's not by accident. That's strategy. What do you think? Was Zelensky being overly polite, or was he just playing the long diplomatic game? Trump, for his part, seemed far more receptive. He welcomed the Europeans, praised the talks as very good, and even floated new ideas for Ukraine's security. At one point, Trump pulled out a map of Ukraine, showing areas under Russian control. It was a dramatic moment, almost like saying, "This is the reality on the ground." But Zelensky pushed back firmly, making it clear Ukraine wasn't ready to concede an inch of territory. If you were in his shoes, what would you have said in that moment? So, what actually came out of this meeting? Well, a few key things stood out. First, Trump said the U.S. would support strong protection for Ukraine, though with a caveat that Europe would need to carry most of the weight. The Europeans, meanwhile, pressed hard for NATO-style guarantees, basically saying Ukraine needs the kind of protection where an attack on one is an attack on all. Second, there was the issue of a ceasefire. European leaders made it clear they wanted one sooner rather than later, but Trump downplayed it. He didn't seem in a rush, and he framed the day's meeting more as an early step rather than a deal-making moment. Do you think waiting on a ceasefire helps Ukraine by buying more time to negotiate, or does it just let Russia keep pushing? And here's the most surprising part. Trump said he wants to set up a three-way meeting between himself, Zelensky, and Putin. That's right, a trilateral summit. Now, whether Putin would actually sit down for that is a whole different question, but the fact that Trump is even floating it is huge. Can you imagine all three men in one room? What do you think would actually happen there? A serious peace talk, or just another stage for political posturing? But beyond the announcements, what really caught my attention was the optics. The mood. Zelensky's careful shift in tone. The Europeans' eagerness to thank Trump and cast him as a partner for peace. After months of tension, it felt like the sides were trying to reset the relationship. Whether you see that as genuine progress or just theater, it was a sharp contrast to the last time they all met. Of course, big questions remain. Will the U.S. really commit to protecting Ukraine in the long term? Can Europe and America align on what security guarantees actually mean? And most importantly, will Russia even engage seriously, or just use these talks to buy more time? Those are questions no one can answer yet. What's clearer, though, is that this meeting was about more than just one conversation. It was about optics, influence, and shaping the next stage of the war. Maybe, just maybe, it was about opening a door that had slammed shut back in February. But the real test is still to come. whether words can turn into action, and whether action can turn into peace. So, what do you think? Was this meeting a genuine breakthrough, or just a well-staged photo op? Do you think Trump can really broker peace between Ukraine and Russia, or is this all smoke and mirrors? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on global events with a clear, honest look at what's really happening, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with friends who love following world affairs. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.